recently for me, so we're filmmakers, we've been shooting this documentary at the moment, and imposter syndrome has been so bad for myself. Um, so could you explain imposter syndrome a little bit more, and just like what, like, and that's a fantastic task, and any other advice you've got on it?
Yeah. So just so we're all aware, we all achieve success in whatever role we're at. And after a while, what happens is people notice and then they promote us into a new area. But when you were the expert in that previous role, let's just say again, you were the secretary. Well, you knew how to answer the phones, you knew how to book the calendar, you knew how to use the software. Excellent. Okay. And so you feel good about yourself. You feel competent. It makes your ego and your sense of worth and your self-identity flourish. Now they've given you a new role. Now you're going to be the manager. Well, now you got to learn budgeting. Now you got to learn how to lead people and delegate people. And because you're such an excellent worker, you don't like making mistakes. And because you're such an excellent worker and people have praised you before about your ability and your skill, you don't want to ask questions to let them know you don't know what you're doing. And so what happens is we have this fear that we're not good enough, that we don't belong, and somebody will find us out. And you feel like you're just an imposter there, that you're hiding behind. You've put on this costume and this hat, and you don't want anybody to find out that you're not good. And so you're embarrassed and you're shy and you're timid. Get over it. Every single person goes through this feeling of feeling like they're not good enough when they enter into a new role or a new ability. I talked to a president at a university just the other day. Absolutely. This person was been on the job 4 months and felt like, oh my God, I don't want anybody to find out I don't know what I'm doing. This person makes $600,000 a year, has won numerous allocations and awards. We all will have it as we move through the organization to different levels. And so recognize that and say, okay, I know it. It's going to happen. It's going to, on average, it takes people 18 months at a new role to feel like they have it, that they can master it. My headhunter told me the happiest and most confident and competent a person feels when they take a new job is the day they accept and sign the contract. Then it goes down, down, down. They start the job, it goes down, 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 down. Somewhere along the line between zero starting date and 18 months, finally it starts to change when you start to gain what's known as competency or mastery over the new skills. Okay, yeah, I know how to work this delegation. Okay, I finally get the budget. Yep, okay, I'm good at it now. And you may need to see it 2 or 3 times. The faster that you can go through it is the more relationships, more networking, the more questions you ask of people outside, right, of you. And that's why those formal mentorship programs are so important. And they're not just for young people in an organization. I'm a VP and I have a mentor.
Love it. When people come to you for help, is there anything in particular you see quite often that's like a really simple thing that maybe we're all walking around with and struggling with, that would help us? Is there anything in particular that you see quite a lot?
Well, I think the biggest thing people that come to me is they've just experienced failure. And they interpret that failure as the end of the road. They interpret their setback as their doom, and they don't reflect on the failure. And this is what I'm trying to get people to understand, is that failure is part of the process, especially for high performers. I really believe that if you're not failing, then you're staying within a safe zone, then you're not really reaching peak performance. You're not really innovating. In order for you to really move an organization or yourself forward, you have to be willing to stretch and strike out a few times. You have to miss the mark a few times, because it's in that uncomfortableness, that failure, that you then reflect, what am I going to do differently? What do I need to do? That's where the growth happens. And so that's the big time. I spend a lot of time teaching people how to accept failure, how to embrace failure, and how to reflect on the lessons learned. That's, to me, a key of a high-performing organization and a peak-performing individual.
So talking of failure, how would you tell somebody to accept it, and how would you use that to move yourself forward afterwards?
One of the things you'll hear is there's the researcher called Carol Dweck, and she wrote a book about the growth mindset. And that thing is about not yet. Achieving a skill doesn't have to happen immediately. It means not yet. And so one of the things you've got to recognize is that your failure doesn't mean no. Your failure means not yet. So if it means not yet, then what do you mean by that? Well, now what's next? What am I going to try differently? What am I going to adjust? Because that's, if you get to the answer of not yet, then it means, okay, something needs to change. When you get to the answer of no, that means I'm done. And so that's the answer I want you to tell yourself when you fail at something. It's like, okay, not yet. Then I want to reflect, well, what are the reasons why it wasn't not yet? What could have been possibly? And if you write all those reasons down, if you think about all those reasons, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try this. All right. And then you've crossed it off. That doesn't mean it's going to happen again. Dang it, it still didn't work. Well, I tried this and this and this. Not yet, still. Why? If Gladwell or talks about the 10,000 hour rule, or J.K. Rowling took 12, 15, 20 times to get her book published, or Edison took thousands of times in a light bulb, surely I can take more than 1 or 2 times to persist in order to achieve my dreams.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And I think the thing is with failure is a lot of people are so fearful of it, they sit in that comfort zone so far away with it. How would you advise someone to push up against it and start trying to get into that zone where they are on the brink of failure?
Yeah, you know, there's a great book by, I think it's Spencer Blanchard that wrote Who Moved My Cheese? And one of the mantras in that book is, what would you do if you weren't afraid? And that's this big piece, is like, because many of us can't move forward because we have this tremendous fear of failure. And that is about what other people are thinking. When you're worried about failure, it's because you're worried about other people interpreting and looking at you. That's you getting out of your own shame, right? That fear of failure is usually about other people's perceptions. You've put so much weight on what they think and others think. I imagine if you had your close circle of friends that were there, and if you asked them, I'm going to try this, but it might strike out. I bet you the people who believe in you 100%, who are unconditionally got your back, will be like, yeah, who cares? Let's go for it, right? Here's your backup plan. Here's your safety plan if things go south. My sofa's ready for you. This is here. Here's a backup job if you need it while you're waiting, right? And so have a plan in place so that when you do fail, you got some place to land, right? But let go of other people's perceptions of who you are and what you should be, and watch excellence happen.